Hi Stampers, it's Nancy from Stampin'shout.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today is day 5 of my Countryside Corners video series. So let me show you what we've made so far. We've made this pretty card with the designer series paper, and it's also embossed with the Countryside embossing folder. And we made this one, which is using that pretty designer series paper again, and we stamped right on the designer series paper. And we also used the Lasting Joy stamp set for some of the sentiments and some of the flowers in this week's cards. We used just the dies and we matched it with another stamp set, and we created a great guy card. It's got that hole in the middle. And then we created a center step card. And we used a lot of that pretty designer series paper on this. I love this card because it's so fun to match all the different, or to mix and match all the pretty papers. And it stands up on your desk, and it also fits nicely in an envelope. And today we're going to make a cute little Ghirardelli candy holder. So this is really fast for a fun Friday card, and let's get started. Also, I wanted to mention that in my directions, which will be on my blog after the video, when I make reference to the dies, there's 7 dies, and I'm starting with the largest first, and I'm calling that die number 1. So die number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the smallest will be die 7. So if you see that in the instructions, that's what it means. So for this one, I took a piece of Misty Moonlight, and I used the largest die, die 7, and I cut that out. Then I took a piece of designer series paper, and I used die 2, and I cut that out. Now the one that I made didn't have a pattern to it, so I want to give you a little tip in case you use paper with a pattern. Now this one does actually have a pattern, so I needed another piece. So the way that you do that is you just take a smaller scrap, and whichever way it's facing, whichever way is the right way, you'll just lay your die right on a scrap piece, however you want, just that much, and cut that away. So that way you don't have to cut a whole piece of paper. So let's talk a little bit about the sizes that we're going to be scoring. We are going to score this at 2 1/4 and 2 3/4. And that's it for that. And then our little pieces here, we're going to cut down to 1 7/8 inches. So again, since I am using a pattern, I have 2 different pieces, and I'm going to cut it down to 1 7/8, just like that. And just like that. So now if you were using something without a pattern, you would just turn this around and cut this down to 1 7/8. So let's bring in the bone folder. Okay, now I'm going to bring in a hole punch. And I'm just going to punch right in the center, right up at the top. And then I'm going to bring up the other piece and line it up and cut through. It's just harder to cut through 2 pieces at once. So this way I line it up and then just cut, and that gives me like my little hole there. Next thing we're going to do is glue our pretty paper on. So I glued that paper right down to the score lines. Now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm bringing in this scrap, and I only want just the center, the smallest piece of this stamp, and I'm going to stamp that in Misty Moonlight. So in yesterday's video, I showed you a way that you can use your marker, and today I'm going to use the stamp pad. So all I want to do is stamp the center, and you're going to get more ink on there than you need. So I have a larger scrap than I need, and I'm just going to go ahead and place that down. now I'm just going to cut out with die 6 the center. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can actually cut out a nice piece, ink the whole stamp pad up, and then cut out the middle and use this part for later. Save the rest of it for later. I still have a couple of good outlines that I can use later if I want, but I just basically want the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and I'll be right back. So there's my little piece, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there, and I'm going to stamp that in Misty Moonlight. So I'm stamping For You right in the center. And now I'm going to bring in Boho Blue and stamp a couple of pretty little flowers on there. Again, these are from the Lasting Joy stamp set. Now I'm bringing in the Old Olive, and I've got the little teeny tiny leaf stamp. And I'm actually just going to ink up part of it, just a little bit, and put a couple of leaves here and there. So if you ink just on the corner, you can just use the littlest part of that stamp. Just like that. I think I'm going to put one more leaf on the inside. So I'm going to clean my stamp pad. And I'm just going to ink one little leaf up in the corner. And I'll do that one more time. And that's how it looks. So let's finish putting this together. So I'm going to put this on dimensionals. And I'm going to bring in my candy, and I'm going to put just a little bit of tear and tape on here. I'm going to place the candy right on the fold. And then I'm going to put a ribbon on here and tie a pretty bow. There is your Ghirardelli chocolate candy holder. So that is really quick and simple and easy to make. So I hope you like that. So remember, I'm here every day, Monday through Friday at noon. All the information for today's and all of my videos will be on my website. If you shop, that's my host code. You can always email me with questions. And until then, don't be shy. Stamp and shout.